Hello, 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 everybody. Merry Christmas Eve. It's your girl, Ashley, the amateur expert, and I'm going live today with my friend Lauren. If this is your first time tuning in, the concept of this show is to talk to people about their career path, their idea of success, and the tips and motivators that they use along the way. So, Lauren is in the room, so we're going to get started. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for being on the show today. So if you could please introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you do currently for work.
Sure. So my name is Lauren Williams. I currently work in a human rights nonprofit that aims to stop sex trafficking, exploitation for children. On the side, I am Meettravelauren. So what I do is I travel and I do review blogging. The goal was to get to 30 countries before 30. So I'm currently creating a new goal because I've accomplished that one. And my family has a nonprofit that raises money not only for scholarships for Haven youth, but we also collect money that goes towards breast cancer awareness as well as heart health.
Beautiful. So Lauren, what did you want to be when you were a little girl?
That's always a stumper for me. I don't know about a little girl, but I remember like my earliest memories. Like I remember picking my major like in college, being in high school, like taking like a class, like a half year psychology class, thinking like, this is it. And being like getting to college and starting those psychology classes and like taking a statistics class, and anybody who's like a psych major understands like how many stats classes you have to take. And just me knowing without a shadow of a doubt that I was going to be a sports statistician. Like that was just going to be my role. I'm athletic. I've always been an athlete. Like that's my role. Like that's my role in society. Like I'm going to be a sports statistician.
And what did you think success looked like while pursuing that goal? Or what did you think that success level of success would give you?
So both my parents, I grew up in a two-family household, and both my parents have multiple degrees. Both my parents loved their careers. They both were educators. And so for me, I knew, all right, that meant getting my bachelor's, getting my master's. That meant just loving my career. And so for me, in that moment, taking those stats classes, a part of my psychology major, I knew that that was something I truly enjoyed. And I also knew, obviously, sports always being a part of my life, that I felt like that was something that I could combine two things that I loved into something that would bring me money and joy.
So your idea of success was a combination of being successful in your career and doing something that you enjoyed that was able to support your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Because I mean, people always say if you enjoy what you do, it truly work. And I agree with that. Like the goal is to not feel like you're working or like, to
Right.
enjoy what you do truly, regardless of what you do, is enjoy it.
So tell me, how did you transition from wanting to be a sports statistician to becoming someone in the HR field and at a nonprofit?
So for me, so like again, I've always been really good at math, but in high school, I actually took stats in high school. I took AP stats in high school. And so I guess when you're a math person, you realize that you can't discriminate against math. Like you have to take all the maths. And I didn't know that. I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep taking stats. I'm getting A's in stats, no problem. When I looked into the master's program and what that would entail in terms of course loads, it had a lot of math classes, not like I had never even heard of. Like, okay, I knew trigonometry, like I knew calculus, but I have never taken those courses. So just how my course load would have changed it in terms of the courses I would have needed to achieve that master's, despite my bachelor's, because even in my undergrad, I just take like a basic algebra 2 course, and then I took 2 years of statistics. So I never had calculus. I never had trigonometry. So just being in those new like concepts of those math courses, I was like, this isn't going to work realistically. And I really didn't even want to try anymore. I was like, this no longer brings me joy.
Right.
The concept as a whole, but the process of what I was going to have to entail. So again, with my undergrad in psychology, I began to look at different forms of psychology and what a master's degree would look like going forward. And so I decided, I always knew I didn't want to be a therapist or a psychologist. So clinical psych was out. I really liked developmental and consumer behavior and things of that nature. But I ended up choosing industrial organizational psychology, which is basically
Say that one more time slower.
Industrial organizational psychology. When you say it as many times as I say it, I just like riddle it off my thumb. But I say yes, but that's basically the business of psychology. And so I took that approach and got my master's in that field. And a lot of people either they consult, they teach, or they work in they start off in human resources. And so that's where my path led me. Like I said, I'm a very philanthropic person. I believe in philanthropy. So for me, it's just second nature to eventually combine it. Like I started off in a nonprofit, my first HR job, then I went to manufacturing. And because I do a lot of traveling, when I was in the midst of the height of my travel, when I was doing 5 countries a year, I felt like it was very selfish of me to travel that much and not build in a volunteer mission. So I was making sure I traveled at least once per year abroad volunteering. And so with that, like, it's like, all right, I'm going to work 6 months and then I'm going to take a 2-month vacation, or I'm going to work 3 months and then I'm going to take 2-week vacation and volunteer in this place. And so now that I have a job that helps and gives back on a daily basis, I feel like I don't have to separate the two. Like, I'm putting the right people in places and make sure they have the resources they need to be able to provide to our clients who are either currently being trafficked or, you know, we also have preventive care as well. So we're getting the message out, you know, how to prevent trafficking happening. So either way, I'm still doing my part.
Perfect. And so what is your idea of success today?
I would still agree. Like I said, my levels, like I have obviously had some personal, like most people have some personal things that like made things hard. Like I lost my brother getting my bachelor's degree. So just finishing out, I remember that last semester, just trying to like get it done. My mother saying, oh, it's okay if you could, you know, if you have to stay another semester, if you need, and I'm like, no, like you don't understand. Like I need this to be over. Like it was hard enough because I decided to stay in college, like away from home, like after losing him. So I was just like wanted it to be done. And so like losing him and staying and just getting it done. And then like I lost my mother getting my master's. And like, so again, just like finishing that out. And like, so I just feel like both of those are really big accomplishments, but like with everything I went through in those processes. So to my degrees to me are still very important. And then now that I have a job that I love, using my degrees is also like I said, so to me, it's still the same. I mean, obviously the goal is never, to me, to never stay stagnant. So like, yeah, I'm happy today. I'm happy in my role. I already have like, all right, this is where I'm being in 2 years. In terms of my job title, this is where I want to be in 3 years, and 5 years is the goal. I'm 30, so by 40, this is what my job title needs to be, whether it's here or somewhere else. I'm a very goal-oriented person. So, you know, just trying to make those benchmarks, and whether that's here or somewhere else, but just being transparent with leadership to know like, hey, this is what it looks like for me. And my company is very understanding of that. So they're one of those companies that will build you up or build you out, like whatever. They don't feel like they need to like keep you necessarily, you know, to have good people. They know that they have like just instill in you what you need to be who you need to be for yourself. That's
awesome. So success, your idea of success hasn't necessarily changed, but it has become maybe more meaningful to you. That's dope. So what is something that you've learned or that you're in the process of still learning that you wish you had known earlier on in your career?
I guess the importance of networking. I mean, people always say that, but I can definitely be like it's hard because I'm going to speak for a general, I hate when people generalize, but I'm going to speak for like our generation. I feel like we always know what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I feel like it's hard to take advice. So sometimes I feel like even me, like I may ask from my elder because I feel like I'm supposed to, or like in my career, like has a job I want. So I know that I'm supposed to like, hey, you know, how'd you get there? What were your steps? Like all that. But I feel like sometimes it's hard just because like I know I'm supposed to, but then it's like now, like, am I supposed to expect something in return? Am I supposed to like, are you supposed to look out for what comes around? Like, what does that relationship really look like? And I don't feel like people really, I mean, sometimes you find those relationships where they're pure and be that honest for you. And then sometimes people are that transparent with it. Like, I don't owe you anything. I just owe you a conversation, or I owe you a conversation. So I feel like networking has always been like, hey, so I feel like it's a skill. We always talk about the thing and learn in high school that we should have learned. And I feel like that is definitely one of them. Like I got my first 2 HR jobs because of family relationships, like someone that I grew up going to church with. The other person like was a lifelong family friend, and like literally was in her wedding when I was like 8. So like people I've known all my life. Like again, I wouldn't say it was networking, but it's definitely like putting your foot out there to say, hey, this is what I want to do. What can you do to help me get there? But I feel like networking is sometimes harder when you don't know the person whatsoever. And so I feel like learning those lessons of how to approach someone that didn't know my, like, not from like my small city, you know, someone that I don't know from anyone, or even just as simple as like contacting somebody on LinkedIn, that you don't know from anyone, have any, you know, common friends with, and just being able to say, hey, like, you know, what was your path? What does it look like? You know, I admire how you, or whatever. And how does that look like? So I think that's something I probably should have started earlier in my career instead of leaning on my village. And even though they got me like to this part of my career, but still those skills would have helped me early on.
So what are the steps that you've taken, or what steps are you taking so that you can be better? Like how are you perfecting that skill? Or how would you suggest someone perfect that skill?
I would say this job. This is my first. Yeah, so I would say to not your circle, because like I said, like, so this fourth HR job, and my first three, I who put me in those positions, and I'm definitely. But this is actually my favorite. I would say it's going to be the best of my career in terms of the role that I'm playing now. And so I said, stepping outside that comfort zone, applying for a job where I knew nothing about, just doing my research, where I knew the company, feeling comfortable, not feeling like someone had to put me in a place or had to like push me away or put my application forward, but just being comfortable enough to trust your skill set, to trust what you bring to the table, and just being able to, you know, move forward from that process. I think it's you have to be comfortable in what you offer and value in yourself to be able to say like, hey, I can do this job. I know what I bring for it.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, because that was a bonus question. What what are some tips and motivators that you have used along your path, whether it be your career journey or starting your nonprofit, or you had an LLC or you still have an LLC? Like, what are some of the things that you've used to motivate yourself along your path?
I'm a very intrinsically motivated person. I would say, I think it just goes back to joy and what brings you and what makes you happy, and, you know, that type of thing. I started Meettravelauren just because, again, I like to travel, and I started the 30 before 30 goal, I don't know, maybe when I was like 20. But when I started it, I only had like 5 or 6 countries under my belt, and maybe by the time I got to be like 22, 23, I probably maybe was at like 10 or 12. And I was like, there is no way. Like, I don't really remember the exact numbers, but I remember thinking like, there's no way. To where at the beginning, I was like screaming it at the mountaintop. And then got to a certain age where like, I started like whispering, and I wouldn't tell people to go because I was nervous that I wouldn't get there. And I was like going to be embarrassed that like I was telling people I was going to do 30 countries before the age of 30, and I just wasn't going to be able to do it. And then I think it was probably like 25 when I only had like 10 countries left, and I was like, there's like, I'm absolutely going to be able to do this, because at one point I was doing like, again, 5, 6 countries a year, so I was just knocking them out like strategically. I think the thing is to like, again, believe yourself, as corny as it may sound, but like, you have to know what you're capable of. You have to know what you're doing and doing it for the right reasons. For me, like, I actually was just talking to somebody about traveling today, and I was like, hey, like my 30 countries was like, I want to pick 30 places I genuinely want to see and I want to know about. I don't want to just go because like I can just go for this little cheap flight. And not saying like I said, all my trips weren't expensive, but I don't want to just go because I can go, or I can just stop over in this country, you know, for one day and say that, oh, I touched ground, so that's country number 7. Like, no, like I didn't want to waste any money on somewhere I didn't want to be just to be able to say I finished this
my
goal.
mark,
like,
yeah.
Exactly, like, because I wanted it to be for me. So I want to be able to look back on these places and say like, hey, I see 30 new countries. I got to explore these new people. Like, and it's funny, like someone in Peru with, she's just got married last year, and now she's getting ready to have a baby. And I'm on Instagram congratulating, like talking to her husband, like, these are people traveling, and now they're like, you know, their life for the better. They have new experiences. And I met them while I was in Peru. Like, you meet people that, you know, wouldn't have met otherwise. And it's all because of my travels. And so, I mean, I started Meettravelauren originally. It wasn't supposed to be like a blog or anything. It was just me sharing my adventures with my friends and family. Because it's like, oh, where are you going next? Oh, well, I'm traveling to that country. Where should I stay? Or what should I eat? Or where you know, what did you do there? Or what was the airline? Or what was this? So that's how I got into that's how I got into seasoning. It was just like, all right, well, fine, you want to know what I did, here you go. Like, I'll just share it, and like the more the better, like I said, because if everybody's traveling, like I said, the more you get and I feel like by traveling, especially being here in America in the state that we're in now, I appreciate coming home, like, you know, what we have, regardless of what state the nation is in at this point.
That's good. So believe in yourself. Set goals and believe in yourself that you can do it.
Yes.
Great. And so now we're at our last question, my dear. I call myself the amateur expert, and I claim to know a little bit about a lot. So if you could please share a random fact with me.
You know what? I've seen this show a lot. And as you prepared to ask this question, I was like, dang it, she's going to ask me. And I prepared.
Teach me something. So something you've learned on your travels, you're getting ready to go away soon. What's something that one of the kids taught you? How easy is it for me to adopt someone? I don't know, anything.
I would say, so for those that don't know, I'm getting ready to leave Saturday to go to Nairobi, Kenya. I sponsored 2 orphans. They would hate that I call them orphans, but by society. And so, can you see me? I'm frozen.
You are frozen, but I can still hear you. Hello? I can see you. You're not frozen anymore, but I don't know if I can hear you. Are you speaking? Hello? Can you hear me? We were doing so well. Speak. Say something. You can't hear me. Technology. Hello? No? I'm gonna maybe kick you out. Let's kick out Lauren and then let's re-invite her and see. Let's see if this works.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying that you are on your way to Nairobi.
Yes, I'm going to keep this tip simple. I would just say that let anyone convince you there's a better breakfast than me and Kenyan tea.
Fair enough. I will take it.
There's something special about Kenyan chai.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know when I'll get there, but soon.
Imagine like mandazi is like a little fried dough, kind of. That's the only thing I can. Not a donut, but it's like more so like fried dough, more so than like a donut. It's like God's gift, especially straight out the oil. Like, the chai.
Well, I hope to get there soon to try it, and I am happy that you are going to be having it real soon. Thank you so much for doing the show. I appreciate all that you've shared with us today, and safe travels.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.